If you're trying to buy a house here in Halifax, or if you recently moved from, say, Ontario, BC, or out of the country, the Nova Scotia government just made a major rule change that could save you thousands of dollars or even change your timeline completely. On August 7th, 2026, the Nova Scotia government announced some key changes to the provincial non-resident detransfer tax. Whether you're moving to HRM, buying an investment property, or inheriting a family property in the province, these new administrative changes could actually impact your wallet. Stay tuned because today we are breaking down what this tax actually is, what just changed, and how it actually affects the Halifax housing market, right here on Halifax Home Guide. Before we dive into these new changes, let's have a quick refresher on what this tax actually is. Back in 2022, the Nova Scotia government introduced this tax to help cool the local housing market and make sure that out-of-province buyers were contributing to local revenues. Basically, if you don't live in Nova Scotia and you buy a residential property that is 3 units or less, think single-family homes, duplexes, or condos, you owe a 10% tax on either the purchase price or the assessed value, whichever is higher. On a $500,000 purchase, that is an extra $50,000 paid in taxes, which would form part of your closing costs. Just to give you an idea of the scale, in the 2025-2026 fiscal year alone, non-residents paid over $18.4 million across nearly 1,800 transactions in Nova Scotia. So what just changed on August 7th? Finance Minister John Lure announced that while the tax still remains at 10%, the province is making some major administrative adjustments because, in their words, sometimes life simply gets in the way when people are trying to relocate. Here are the key updates that you need to know. Number 1, extended proof of residency. Previously, if you bought a home as a non-resident with plans to move here permanently, you only had 6 months to prove that you became a full-time resident. That timeline has now doubled to 1 year. Number 2 is clear extensions. The province is clarifying rules for special extensions if delays like construction or job moves simply slow down your relocation. Number 3, inheritance exemption. Property willed to a non-resident following a death is now explicitly exempt from this tax. Number 4, doubling the refund window. You now have 2 years instead of 1 year to apply for a tax refund if you meet the primary residence criteria if you already paid for the tax upfront. Number 5, legal representative payouts. Refunds can now be paid directly to legal representatives, cutting down on lawyer and probate headaches. For buyers moving to Halifax or inheriting property, this extra breathing room is huge. Delays in closing, job transfers, or home renovations meant a lot of people were getting unfairly penalized if they didn't finish those things within the 6-month rule. So what does this mean for a local HRM market? Well, it signals that Nova Scotia still wants to welcome people from outside of the province who plan on moving here permanently and building a life, while keeping pressure on pure out-of-province speculative investors. It makes relocating to Halifax less risky for families moving across Canada. But on the other hand, it doesn't address folks who are buying a property specifically for their kid who's in university to live in, or someone who is looking to buy a seasonal or cottage property. Now, this raises a bigger question. With all of these adjustments, is this tax helping to solve the housing crisis, or is it just an unnecessary, outdated barrier? I actually did a deep dive in a video that I did a few months ago, where I asked the question, is the Nova Scotia non-resident detransfer tax still relevant in 2026? And that should pop up in the window here shortly. Do you think that these changes went far enough? Be sure to leave your comment below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.